Okay, as you can see here, we put the lower timing cover back on. It's real simple. It's just what, 4 10mm bolts. Now it's time to put this bracket back in. We'll just slide this thing in here. How do we do that? I had the bolts out, but what we're going to do, as you can see, I held the bolts in place in the order that they went in.
Jacked up some?
Yeah, jack the engine up a little bit. So we can get in here like this. There we are. Why is that not lining up?
Because it might have to fit into a groove in the lower cover.
Yep. Alright, now I'm just going to get these started over here. And we don't want to tighten these 3 down just yet. We'll start with 2. Alright, we'll get these started, because we may have to move this bracket around. That's why we don't want to tighten them down yet.
You look like a contortionist doing that.
Well, sometimes you have to be. Can't tell you how many times I wish I had that extra elbow right here to get into certain places.
Is that upper one that's like recessed?
Yeah, it's hard to feel where it's at. Let me get around this side.
Switch sides with you.
I think I found it.
You found the hole?
There it is.
Glory, hallelujah.
There's those, and we'll get this last one started over here. Alright, I got that one started, so we're going to start with this wrench, and we're just going to tighten all these things down. Make sure they're all nice and snug.
Okay, we're getting that bracket tightened down now. Our bolts nice and snug.
Alright, that's the last one. Now we're ready for the upper timing cover. So we're going to switch spots here, because this takes, let me see, a couple hands here. Do it like that. Pull up on the valve cover. Bye. Alright.
There we go.
Got that back in place. We can put the valve cover back on. As you can see, it goes.
Just be careful of the O-rings right here.
Rests over the top.
There we go. Okay.
Alright. Now we can put those in. And while he's doing that, it's going to be hard to show it all, but while he's doing that, I'm going to tighten down these valve cover bolts here. Of course, putting them back in is not always as easy as taking them back out.
You know, we got the cover on. Make sure you plug in your cam sensor. Okay, snapped on, and then make sure you push your grommet through to keep the water out. Okay, now we're going to put the harmonic balancer back on with our keyway. Need the engine dropped a little bit, please. Make sure you set that little square keyway in, the notch. Just like that. We're going to line this up right over the keyway and get it slid on there. Put our big nut in. And because I took this off with air, I'm putting it on with air because it was pretty darn tight. Would help if I had air. Okay, that should be tight enough. Now we can start our belts.
Okay, one thing you may see on your car that you don't see here is you see where you have this opening where you can see the pulleys. There should be part of a plastic fender well liner in there.
There's a clips there.
There's a clips that they were broke off on this car. Nothing we can do about that. That's a dealer item. So they're going to have to go to the dealer to pick one of those up so it can be put on. But alright, looks like we're done down here.
Alright, we went into a problem after we had pried the alternator away to get access to that bracket. The upper bolt wouldn't line up, and the reason being is this bolt right here holds the bracket for the tensioner, and when we had pried that away, it had actually made this move down a little bit, so we're off on top. So if that happens to you, you just loosen this bolt here, get your upper bolt lined up, and tighten this guy back down, tighten the upper one back down, and set your belt tension over here. Okay, so we're getting our belt on here.
Closer. Here we go.
Just gonna get it up and over the alternator there. Yep.
Right, now you can come up here.
Now we're gonna go up top, we're gonna set the tension on that belt, and then we'll come back down here, and then you're gonna tighten that 12 that's right there. Once you get the tension set, so it doesn't loosen.
See this little wing nut there? Right here. We had to loosen that up quite a bit to get the alternator to get for the belt to go on. Now we just tighten this down until it tightens up. Ow! Still too loose. You want it to be tight, but you don't want it to be over tight. They do make tools called belt gauges that actually check the tension, but what do you want? Was it like a 1/4 inch of deflection maybe?
Right. And you can see how it's all coming together. We're about done here. After this, we'll put the power steering pump back in and we'll get that belt on.
Tell me what you think. I think that's pretty good. A couple more turns.
Yeah. Just because if the compressor comes on, it might squeal.
There we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Alright, now that we got that, we're ready for the bracket for the power steering pump.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to go underneath and I'm going to tighten that 12. Now that you got the tension set,
Okay,
that doesn't let it
Show me
move.
this real quick. Remember, this goes here. Then we'll just get this lined up here, put these bolts in, and like John said, while I'm doing this, he's going to show you where that 12 millimeter is down there and how to tighten that up with the adjuster.
Okay, so if you can see in here, in that bracket there, if you go over to here where that tensioner is, there is a bolt right here that now that you have the tension set, you need to tighten that down. So I'm going to get on that, and I'm going to snug it down. And what that'll do is, now that you got your tension set for your belt, it won't allow it to slide on the bracket to get loose. There we go. It's all tight. Now we can go up top. What size you need for those? 14?
Yeah, this one's a little tricky. This one is right here. This one's a little tricky because the harness is in the way. Put these in. 14. And we get these things snugged down, and then we're going to be ready to put our power steering pump back on. Alright, quick change of plans. Probably wouldn't do too good to put the power steering pump and stuff on unless we have the top part of the motor mounted on first. Otherwise it'll be too much of a problem. So make sure we got our engine up pretty high. Let's try to get this bad boy in here. How did we get? Oh, we went down. Wrong way.
There you go.
Now we'll bring it back up.
Right there.
3 17mm bolts here. Or nuts, I mean. And we got to find the one that we dropped off the adjuster piece. That fell. Oh, that's one you picked up. Okay. Let me get these 3 on. Oopsie. Oh. 19. Where's the
That nut.
I grabbed the nut. I just gotta find
Yeah, let me have it so I can put it on while you're messing with the.
Alright, we gotta find the 17mm socket. Right there. Alright. Now we can tighten these down. Alright, now we can get this jack out of the way that we've been dodging all day. Avoiding serious injury.
Yeah, we almost got impaled a couple times.
Yeah. Alright, now we need this line. This goes over the top. We have our power steering pump and our reservoir. Other one set back in. It was just like this. We got our bolt in there. I'm going to start this nut. You want to do it with the pump this way so that the stud doesn't pull out. Let's get it finger tight. You can see all this is one big adjustment, so that's going to help us to adjust our belt tension. Alright, this goes here. So this is going to go in here, through here with the nut on the back side. We can get this started. Ow. Not fun. And this comes up over the top here. So we should have this one, I think it is. Yep, that's it. This goes here, that's the little bracket for your adjuster. Alright, that's tight. Now we gotta put we need to put the power steering belt on, and then we'll make our adjustments here. Actually, this is gonna adjust straight up to tighten the belt, which is gonna be good. So we have our new belt here. I'll crawl down there. You just hold it up here.
All right.
You hold that on there. I'll reach down here and get it around the other pulley. No, take it off from there. We'll get the bottom side first. Alright, give it a pull.
Okay, we just need to
Slide, it's got to go down
loosen
more.
the tension a little bit.
And this has the same kind of adjuster that the alternator had. Let's back this thing out. If you watch, you'll see the power steering pump moving, maybe.
Yeah, sliding down.
Alright, now that we have that on, this is what we want to do. Let's tighten this boy up. Feel pretty good. And you'll know that it's tightening because it'll get harder to turn. That should be good.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Tighten this one down first. And then we got to get in there and tighten that one down there. This is one of those places, like I mentioned earlier, where these ratcheting wrenches come in handy. Because I can get right between the belt and the pump instead of having to fight my way around it with a socket and a ratchet. Make sure that's nice and tight. That comes in from this side, mounts to the power steering bracket. And we were fortunate that it had just enough flexibility to get around it. We didn't have to evacuate the air conditioning system. We don't have to worry about recharging it. Alright, we got that snug. Now we can put our power steering hose on. Since we have it off, it's a good idea to inspect this O-ring here. Make sure it's not damaged. One thing that can happen when you get to the end of a kind of a bigger job like this is you can get into a hurry, get impatient. That's something you don't want to do. You got to be careful because you don't. This is when you make the most mistakes. Is when you just feel like you want to be done with it. And the worst part is you're going back together. So you make a mistake here, it can cause lots of problems, lots of money. Or just the inconvenience of having to do things over. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've put stuff together and then turned and looked and said, oh crap, and now we got to take it all back apart because we missed something. Get this nice and tight. Now you see we have a small spot, that power steering spill here. One thing we don't want to do is use brake cleaner. We're going to wipe it off with a rag because below that is the alternator. When you get that brake clean in there, you start this car up, them fumes or that liquid that's still in there as that alternator spins and generates electricity, potential fire hazard. And that is something we do not want. Is that attached?
This bracket goes right here.
Okay, let's get these and then we can get that last. So we put these in, just push them down. Now on this particular one, the way the harness is, you kind of want to plug it in as you're putting it in there. And when you put any electrical connectors back on, you want to listen, you should be able to hear a click. That lets you know it's fully seated and locked in place. Those on. Now what you could do when you have smaller bolts, you don't want to over torque it. If you're using something bigger like a 3/8 drive, put your hand as close to the head of it as you can. It gives you less leverage. And then you can just use one hand to snug it down because we don't need to crank these down. They don't have to be done with power tools or a lot of leverage. See, that's tight. Now if I put my hand here and just pulled, it wouldn't take much effort to break that. So if you don't necessarily have every type of tool, which most people don't, even professional technicians don't always have everything, find ways to improvise. That was a long bolt.
Both of them were really long.
And I don't understand the necessity for that because they don't do anything underneath there. Alright, we have those snagged down. So all we have to do now is put this on. This went this way. Get our screwdriver. We have that on. Okay, now the only thing we have left to do, that way in case somebody says, hey, you missed something, we need to find our 10 millimeter for this bracket here. We dropped it somewhere. We're just going to put that in, and then we can put the wheel on and we're ready to start this thing up. Make sure the power steering fluid's topped off. Let's put this in the bracket here. And then that should be all she wrote. So we will be back when we have the wheel and stuff on and start this thing up.
Okay, you see we started our car. We're going to top it off with coolant for what we lost from the water pump. Power steering's full. We got it running. This is another production of John and Andy at Car Repairs Made Easy, and we hope this was informative and helps you out. Again, this is a very technical job. It's not labor intensive, but it's very precise and technical, and you have to follow steps. You can't skip anything or you'll be off timing. And this is interference engine, so you'll destroy it. So if you're not an experienced technician and you don't think you have the aptitude to do this, I would not recommend doing it. So visit our Facebook page, our website, and Twitter, and we will put those links down in the description right down here. And we'll see you next time.